Hey everybody, Terry here with the Outdoor Amputee, and today I wanted to do a 4-month follow-up on my Vibe Shearwater 125 and tell you some things that I have learned and how much fun I'm having. One of the first things that I learned about yaking and fishing is the weather app. I have been very diligent here lately of watching the weather and the wind. I have not been caught out in a rainstorm yet, but I have been in some brutal wind conditions, so that is a lesson learned for me. I've kind of learned in my area, when you get those constant 7 to 10 mile an hour winds, fishing really becomes secondary to paddling and constantly moving. So if I see that it's going to be a day to where it's just going to be wind nonstop, then I just usually go bank fishing and get some fishing in there. So one of the things that I have found that I really like about my Shearwater 125 is the stability. Man, I have really leaned over on this thing, and not one time have I ever felt like that I am going to turn my kayak over. I can reach over pretty far, get fish out of the water, and feel very, very stable. Now, I will say, I've got the perch on my seat, and I have not attempted to stand yet. Really felt like I haven't needed to. To me, that wasn't, a thing I was looking at when I got into yaking and fishing. It's on the seat. It's a nice feature, but for me, I've just got mine raised up in the highest position, and that's where I'm comfortable at. So I feel like I don't need to stand up, don't have a reason to. So I'm going to show you some of the things that I have added to my Shearwater 125 since I got it, and show you some other things here. So one of the things that I've done is I just got me a carabiner and a long rope here, and I've just tied it to the front. So when I launch my kayak off the trailer, I just hook it up and move my vehicle, and then I get right in it and I just tuck it up under here so it's out of the way. So that was one of the first things that I did. Second thing that I purchased was I got this Plano Storage Box. And you can see it's pretty good size here. And what I do is I keep my PFD in here. I keep my Garmin Striker CV4 fish finder in here. Transducer stays in here, and I've got that set up to side mount to drop it in the water so I can move it from yak to yak. I've got my bixpy motor in here, and then usually I put my little backpack tackle box in here. So that is one thing that I really like having, is I can throw this in the back of the truck, load everything onto the kayak once I get ready, and put this back in the truck. And it does have a spot where you can put a lock on this. So when I'm done fishing for the day, everything goes back here and it goes on the shelf in storage. So the next thing that I got is I got one of these Noctua. I guess that's how you call it. Don't fault me for pronouncing it wrong. But this little lithium battery right here, and I'll link it down in the description. But this is what I run my fish finder off of, and I fully charge this, and it has not even come close to dying in a day. So that little battery works good. I want to say it was like $89, $99, but like I said, I'll link that in the description if you want to check that out. So one of the other things that I've done is I've just got an extender for the paddle. I was just laying it in the floorboard, and it was just getting in the way all the time. So when I'm fishing and I just need to move a little bit, I can just unclip it, pull it up, move, and put it right back in, and it is out of the way. So I do like that. I do some big fish fishing. So I've got 2 of these rod holders here that I clip on. So when I want to anchor up a little bit, I got 2 big rod holders that I use, and I just clip them in here when I'm fishing for catfish and carp. One thing you'll notice is my pedals are completely gone. So I've done away with those because of these bad boys right here. It is just too hard to try to constantly do the pedals all the time with the steering. So removed all that and put in the hand control steering. Super easy to put on. This was about used, but these holes were just filled up, had mud in them, and did a little quick video on, somebody gave a recommendation on running some weed eater string through there and pulling your cable through, which worked perfectly. So I'll also link that video. If you're having that problem, it'll show you how to run new cables for your steering. So that is one upgrade that I really wanted to do. I like the hand steering instead of the pedal steering. So like I said, here is the perch. Sorry, got my little Jesus man here. He always goes with me when I'm fishing, and usually he gets mounted right up here, so we'll leave him on here. But here's the perch. Have sat on it before, very comfortable. But I will say one thing on this seat. This seat is really comfortable. I've done some 6-8 hour fishing trips, and I have herniated disc in my neck, in my back, and when I'm done fishing, my back and my neck do not bother me one bit. So kudos to Vibe for getting a real good seat on this Shearwater 125, because I am comfortable all day long. All right, we're moving on back here. So I do have a crate, but you know what? I don't use the crate much. This is what I like. It's a waterproof backpack, and I can put multiple boxes in here. I've got multiple storage packs. So basically, I just fill this up. I've got storage under the seat, and then in there, in this storage box, I can put some other little small boxes. So to me, I like this. That way, when I want to go bank fishing, pretty much everything is in there that I use. So I just strap it on and go, and it sits perfectly right back here. So I've got my Bixby motor back here, and this right here, easy to turn around and get to. So for me, that was an awesome upgrade, getting the backpack. All right, we'll move over here. So did a quick little video on a GoPro mount to get those aerial shots or side shots, and got this little adapter off of the famous Amazon. And I will say this after using this a few times, because I run a Yellowtech juice bank with my GoPro, so I can record long video sessions from this position. And that juice bank is a little heavier than the GoPro, so when you have all of that weight sticking way up here, it does wobble. So you know, just caution, if you're going to raise that way up in the air and you've got more weight at the main top, it is going to sway a little bit more. So I'm going to play around with doing a mount up here to get some different shots. But what I use the most is I use this grip GoPro mount. I can clip this on to my handles over here. Anywhere on the kayak and get different footage, so I can get low water footage. On the Pro, I can get underwater footage. So to me, I like this mount better than I do the GoPro mount. Plus, if I need to get to something back here, I've got to reach all the way back here to do this. And like I said, I'm not standing up. If I was standing up, probably wouldn't be a big deal. But for me, it's going to be convenience and ease for me. Now, this is not so much a kayak upgrade, but what I did is had this jet ski trailer that I bought for 75 bucks, and my project that I had in my mind was I wanted to be able to do a double haul for a trip with me and my son, or me and my wife. And when I was not going out with two and it was just going to be me, I wanted to remove the Sea Ghost and have my center channel still on here to go by myself, so all the weight would be in the middle and not on one side. So this is a system I come up with. It works good. The only thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change out the 2x4s here in the middle for PVC pipe, just to get a little bit more stability up through here, and I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. It does sit good. I've strapped it down. I have no worries that it's gonna come off, but I think it's just gonna set better with the PVC pipe. So we're gonna swap that out and do that this weekend and make that a little bit better. And as you can see, I really like the Vibe brand so much. Like I said, their customer service, you know, for me has been great. Communication has been great. Some really great people to communicate and work with. We wound up getting a Sea Ghost 130, and this thing is a tank. We're gonna be doing some long lake fishing trips with this. So we are gonna be doing a bixpy motor on that one. So we're both motorized, and we're gonna have some really awesome good content coming out with both of these on the water. So you don't wanna miss that, stay tuned. If you don't mind, hit that like and subscribe button, give me a follow. Your support from my channel means the world to me. If you have a kayak, especially a Vibe, let me know some of the things that you like, some of the trips you've had. I would love to hear your stories. Now, the only negative that I have, and this is not on Vibe, this is almost on every kayak that I see, is where the track system is. So most kayaks I see have track systems mounted in the front and the back. You know, on the Sea Ghost, it does come back a little further. I would love to have tracks more back toward the seat. Now don't get me wrong, the cup holders are nice. I like being able to, you know, slide my Stanley in there, and I make sure that I've got plenty of water, but I don't need two. One would be great, but man, a track system right through here. I would love to put my fish finder more on the side here and not up here toward the front, you know, where I'm fishing and my rods are. You've got more chance for your fish getting tangled in your transducer and the cables. So I would love to see in the future having more track back through here that is more usable track space. I find when I'm out on the water, I try to get everything back here as close as I can to the seat so I can reach it. And I even mounted me a track right here, you know, on my storage that I can get to when I'm doing an action camera mount there. But I find I don't use it up here as much because I really have to stretch and kind of get out of the seat more to be able to use the front part of these tracks. So I would love if we had some tracks back here. That is not on Vibe. Almost every yak that I see is made the same way, and you know, that's, you know, it's really not a negative. That's just more of a, you know, personal me want type thing. But overall, have to say I've been really pleased with the Vibe. Man, I love my Shearwater. When I go out, this thing is easy to paddle if I want to paddle. It tracks really well. I have never been at a point where I've gotten too tired from paddling. And like I said, I've done some 6-8 hour days in wind, and I don't use my motor that much. If I'm going to move positions and it's going to be further away, that's where I really use my motor. But when I'm fishing a line, I never turn my motor on. I'm basically just using those paddles and kind of positioning myself. So I find that this tracks really well. The stability is great. And like I said, I'm comfortable on it. And those are the things you want if you're going to be out fishing for long hours at a time. So if there's one piece of advice I could say is make sure you've got your PFD on. I know you see videos and you see people fishing without them. I'm not going to be one of those people. To me, safety is more important. You never know when you're going to have an accident. You might flip your yak. You may be too tired. Something can always happen. So if you've got that PFD on, your chances of not running into a bad issue are going to be greatly lowered. So make sure you're using your PFD. Some of the other things I keep on my yak is I've got a whistle. If you fish on a lake, you know, you've got crazy wakeboarders and people running crazy around on boats and jet skis. So I always keep a whistle on mine. Always keep a lighter and keep some extra pliers, got a screwdriver. So I just keep some essentials on here, and I use these little clips so I'm not going to lose them over in the water like I did on one fishing trip. Did not have my scissors attached to anything, had them on my lap, and I was getting the fish off, and next thing I know, my scissors are in the bottom of the lake. So lesson learned. I make sure everything's on clips now, and got a waterproof pouch for my phone, because you know, most everybody drops their phone occasionally, and you don't want to drop it in the water and lose it. So that's my advice on some essentials that you could have on your kayak. If you want to learn more about the Vibe kayak, I will leave the website description down. I'll link that below for you. If you have any questions on the Vibe Sea Ghost 130 or the Shearwater 125, just shoot me a comment down below and I'll respond to that. I appreciate you watching. If you don't mind, subscribe to my channel. Like I said, we got some really cool content coming up with some fishing stuff, and we're gearing up the rest of this year, just learning as much as we can, because next year we are hitting some kayak bass fishing tournaments, and that's going to be a fun time. So appreciate you watching. Oh yeah. On the frog. Finally. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to get those lines out, paddles down, and have some fun.